In this tutorial, I'm sharing how to achieve heatless curls the easy way, and we'll be speeding up the air dry process to create no heat curls without sleeping on uncomfortable curlers or weird contraptions overnight. One of the best ways to save on drying time with heatless curls is by stretching it first. So I'll show you the African beauty secret I use to smooth out my natural curls without heat. For the sake of saving time, I'm starting on hair that was stretched about a week beforehand. On freshly shampooed, deep conditioned, and towel dried hair, I applied a little bit of aloe water to rehydrate my hair. I sealed the aloe water in with a dime-sized amount of herbal hair oil for my entire head, and to freeze my hair into the shape of the stretch style, I topped everything off with flaxseed gel. Commonly used in Algeria, the kartoun is a cotton ribbon used to stretch and smooth wavy to curly hair, and at this point, my hair was already stretched with it, but I'll show you how I used it for demonstration purposes. I split my hair into two pigtails, smoothed it down with my Tangle Teezer, plus the products I showed before, secured it in place with a soft hair tie. The only difference between the first time I used it and what I'm showing you now is that my hair was damp. This technique does not work on dry hair. After the top is secured, tie the ribbon at the top of the ponytail to hold it in place. I then wrapped the ribbon around my slightly damp curls all the way down to the end and wrapped it back up to the top to tie it in place. I tend to sleep on my back, so splitting my hair in half to do this style was the best option for me, but if you are a side sleeper or have low density hair, you'll be able to do this with one ponytail in the back versus the two I'm showing you. Make sure to do a bow to easily unravel it when the time comes to take the ribbon off. It's essential that your curls aren't soaking wet when you're doing this, or else it will take forever and a day to dry. So starting early in the morning works best, then sleeping with it overnight to ensure it's 100% dry before taking it out. To create the curls, I'll be using jumbo flexi rods, aka heatless curlers. The bigger rods are great for curling longer hair in larger sections due to its size versus using smaller rods which take a lot longer to install. To make this process as easy as possible, we're going to pre-separate our hair. Sectioning clips come in really handy if you have very long hair. You can keep the sections you aren't working on out of the way. I parted my hair by splitting one section towards the front for my side part, two on each side towards the front, and for the back I did a zigzag part which helps parting to be less noticeable when you take the curls out of the rods. 2 sections in the back half, 3 sections on the front half, and 5 sections total. To make installation easier, you'll want to put the flexi rods starting from the back and working your way to the front. The styler I'm using is this honey spiked mousse that has a very soft hold, and using about 1 pump of mousse to fully saturate my hair. Next, you want to smooth that through and then detangle it with a Tangle Teezer. It's very important that this is nice and smooth before we put it onto the rod. Once that is done, grab a flexi rod and place it onto the root. You're going to wrap the hair around the flexi rod as if it's a curling wand, and as you wrap your hair around the rod, put some space between the hair. Don't wrap the hair on top of itself. That will not only give you a much different curl, but it'll also take a lot longer to dry. At the root, bend the rod the opposite direction you wrapped it to lock it in place, and the ends. And I wrapped my hair towards my face, so the top portion will be bent away from my face. If you have super rebellious ends that don't want to mold itself to the curling rod, add some extra mousse on them to help it stick to the rod. As you're picking up hair to wrap around the rod, do your best not to grab super large sections. Putting too much hair on the rod can slow down the air drying process, and when you wrap your curls, wrap it in the direction you would like it to fall when it dries. For those of you who may be curious, this can be done on wet hair fresh out of the shower, but it takes way longer to dry. You'll need to wait at least 5 to 8 hours before it completely dries, and our main objective here is to not sleep on the rollers. I honestly prefer drying my hair with a hooded bonnet attachment, but I couldn't find one large enough to fit over these rollers. I was pretty much forced to make this heatless. To keep these curls heatless but speed up the drying process, I'll be using a large fan. Turn the fan on to its highest speed and wait for it to dry. To get the best results out of using the fan, readjust the positioning of your head to ensure that air reaches every single curl. It's been 2 hours. I was very tired of having these flexi rods in at this point, so I went ahead and took them out when my hair was about 80% dry. I am wrapping my hair around 3 fingers the same way I did with the rods and bobby pinning it through the center to keep it in place. And you'll want to repeat this for each rod you take out, especially if it's still damp. The trick to maintaining the curling rod shape is to pin curl your hair. This way, you could comfortably sleep while allowing the heatless curls to dry and still set in place. I messed with the curls in some sections a lot to check if they were dry, and some of them started curling in a really weird way. As soon as you gently roll the curl out of the rod, wrap it into a pin curl. This will help to prevent them from getting frizzy or misshapen. And once all the pin curls are in, I wrapped it in a satin scarf and went to bed. The next morning, it's finally time to see what these curls are looking like. Using a couple drops of oil, I'm going to gently unravel each pin curl, and at this point, your hair should be 100% dry. If it isn't, wait until they are to take them out. And you could go back in with a fan if necessary. I'm going to separate the curls wherever I see they want to naturally separate, meaning if I spot a gap when I stretch the curl out, that is where I will separate the curls. So once the curl is separated, I curl it back into the original direction it was curled to maintain definition. To loosen the curls from the roots, I am gently massaging my scalp, and for a finishing touch, I'm styling my edges with some flaxseed gel. Because I used mousse to style these curls, my hair dried with a very soft hold, so it won't last as long as when I use flaxseed gel, but the style lasted me about a week. Subscribe, like, and share for more content like this, and I'll see you next time. I got requests to create a video on how I revert back to healthy curls after straightening, and since I've been straightening my curls more frequently, I figured now would be a good time as any to share how I get my curls back with my straight to curly hair routine. Everything from what I use to remove buildup, wash, and style my curls will be covered from start to finish. It's been 3 weeks since my curls have felt a drop of water, so you can imagine that the buildup definitely needs to be dressed first. The way I like to begin that process is with hair oiling, and the oil I'm using is my own DIY herbal hair growth recipe. It's been infused with Ayurvedic herbs and a unique blend of oils that help to both penetrate and create a protective coating around the hair.